Welcome to the third episode in my SFM tutorial series. In this episode, we will cover basic model posing. Let's get to it. Let's reload our previous session and jump right into what everyone wants to learn: posing the damn model. As soon as your session is open, we need to place the model to the default center of the map. To do this, make sure you're in the motion editor, click the plus icon next to your model's name, and click the plus icon next to the text that says body. Select the root transform text and click and drag the default slider to the right, located under the procedural tab. Select your root transform bone again and notice the bundle of circles and arrows that appears at the bottom of your model. This is your move tool and is used to move models and bones around certain axis directions. Click and drag the arrows to make your model move all around. The blue arrow makes the model move up and down, the green arrow makes the model move left and right, and the red arrow makes the model move forwards and backwards. The circles with the crossfaded colors will move the model in a diagonal direction, depending on the circle you select and move. For example, the blue and red circle will move the model forward, up, and down diagonally. Mess around a bit to get accustomed to the move tool. Fucking about is key to learning anything new. A neat way to move the model across the floor if the map terrain is bumpy is to click, shift, and drag the middle blue box on the move tool. This will move the model in any direction that corresponds with where your camera is. For example, let's say this rock is part of the map, and you want to move your model on top of the rock. Instead of meticulously moving the model around by the arrow axes, simply click and hold the blue center of the move tool, hold down the shift key, and drag your model to the point of the rock you want it, like so. This can be used to position any models onto other models, like weapons or cosmetics. Use Ctrl and Z together to undo actions you make, just like Photoshop. Do this until your model is back in the center of the map. If you happen to undo too much progress, you can just Ctrl-Shift-Z to redo any actions you performed. Now let's get into some real shit. Posing. You know this is what you want. Hold down the Control key and you will notice all sorts of purple dots, yellow, red, and green lines and shapes. These are the bones of your model and are what we use to bend the model in any way we want. While holding Control, select or click on a bone. I recommend an arm or leg bone, as I will be using it for an example. Now chances are, this is the problem most people had when trying to pose models. This is because you're using the wrong tool, fools! The move tool is only used for moving models around the map, and IK rigs, but we'll get to rigs in the next video. What you're doing now is trying to move the bones. We need to rotate the bones, hence the rotation tool. There are two ways to bring it up. You can select the rotation tool at the bottom left corner of the primary viewport, or you can just press the E key when the bone is selected. E brings up the rotation tool, and W brings up the move tool. Meet the rotation tool. It will be your best friend in SFM. It works similarly to the move tool, meaning that the red circle rotates the bone forward and backward, green rotates it left and right, blue rotates it up and down, and the outer white circle moves it fuck all over the place. Clicking and dragging the inside of the circles of the rotation tool will make it rotate anywhere you want. Try rotating other bones around to get a feel for it, and don't forget to Ctrl-Z to undo your rotations when you're done. Now that you understand the basics of posing by moving your model, it's time to make a poster. Let's utilize the map floor movements we learned earlier just to keep it fresh on your mind. I will spawn a crate for my model to stand on. You can spawn whatever you want, but your model will have to stand on it. Default your spawned object and rotate and move it into any position you want. Select your model's root bone and shift drag the small blue box onto the top of your standing object, and be sure you're using the move tool. The W key will pull it up when a bone is selected. With your model standing on the object, it's time to pose. Using the rotation tool, rotate all the bones to your heart's desire. Really take the effort to make your pose look natural and believable. Try out all sorts of bones to see what they do, especially collarbones. Those help a lot when it comes to arm posing. Understanding anatomy certainly helps, but you could always look up reference images of the kind of pose you're looking for. Practice makes permanent, as there's no such thing as perfect. That's all the time we have for this episode. I was originally going to discuss IK rigs, but it made the script far too long, and too complicated, and overwhelming. So the next video will cover IK rigs and scene composition. Until then, stay educated.